Don't you hate it or even lose interest when the media keeps throwing all these technical terms at you, like online identity protection, data privacy, but they don't tell you what you need to do or practical steps you need to take to make them work for you? I feel you. And in this video, I'm going to explain to you in simple terms what this means and 5 practical tips to get you started on how to slam the door in front of cyber criminals. Hello ladies, my name is Stella. I am a security consultant, and on this channel I help my fellow women with practical tips on how to navigate securely online while protecting their data at the same time. So why does it matter to protect your identity online? Take a second and imagine a world without privacy on the internet, where all your activities and personal information such as your medical records, your bank information, your credit card information, your emails, they are all out there in the open for anyone to see. It doesn't sound good, does it? Do you still think that you have nothing to hide? That personal identity protection doesn't affect you? Probably not. Privacy matters because without it, the internet becomes a less safe place for us all to delight in. After all, there is nothing stopping everything you do online from being entirely public. So internet privacy is important because it gives you control over your online identity and personal information. Without that control, anyone with intention and means can manipulate your identity to serve their goals, be it stealing your hard-earned money, selling you a more expensive vacation, or simply deciding to become you, otherwise known as identity theft. So let's take a look at 5 easy steps to protect your identity online. When it comes to your online security and privacy, it pays to be suspicious of every app. First off, reduce the number of apps that you download, then download only from reputable app stores like Apple App Store and Google Play Store. Be watchful of the data they are seeking access to. Why would a grocery store app need access to your contacts, for example? Another way to make better decisions is to ask yourself, how does this app make money? This small trick can help guide you towards more privacy-focused apps. For example, Unroll.me is a free app that summarizes newsletters and subscription emails. But after an FTC investigation, their revenue model became clear. They scanned emails and sold the content. If you don't understand how an app makes money, user data might be the answer. Your phone settings is a good source to tell you the apps that you have recently used and the ones you haven't. Go through them and delete the apps you don't use regularly from your mobile apps. Even apps you've forgotten about can stay active with hidden features. But most importantly, deleting old apps protect you from security flaws. Some apps and add-ons may have a shelf life, which means they no longer receive updates from the developers. This also means they are no longer protected against the latest threats, which may impact you if you have an older app or an extension gathering digital dust on your device. The same applies to browser extensions. Some Chrome and Firefox extensions track all browser activities, including tax returns and medical data. For example, if you use Chrome, you can type in Chrome:/extensions in your search bar. And it is good to delete, not just disable, any extension that you're no longer using. If you visit a site once in a while, it is safer to access it through your browser than to download their app on your device. And there is also this added bonus that not only will you be at less risk with fewer accounts, but you will also significantly improve the performance of your device because these apps were occupying precious hard drive space. Your search engine collects a good amount of personal data about you, and for the majority of us, that search engine is Google. The owners of the 2 largest search engines, Google and Bing, also operate the popular browsers Chrome and Edge respectively. This means they track a lot of our data. So how do you go about blocking them from tracking you? The first step to improve search engine privacy is deleting your data. This stored data about you is a high-value product. Both of the search engines and the bad actors should gain access to your system. Unfortunately, you cannot totally eliminate all tracking on Google. An alternative is to switch to an online privacy-focused search engine like DuckDuckGo. Another option is to use private browsing or the incognito mode, which is available in the popular browsers like Chrome, Edge, Firefox, Safari. The benefit here is that the browser will not store cookies or internet history on your computer. It is also useful when you're using a public device, for example, in the library, because it will hide your browsing history from other users using the same system as you. However, private browsing does not hide your online identity or browsing activities beyond your local machine. as your IP address can still be tracked, only that cookies and internet history will not be stored on your system. I once heard someone say that the best way to fire an employee, a difficult one of course, is not to hire them. Now we are not firing anybody here. However, this concept applies to various areas of our lives: business partnerships, personal relationships, and of course our online data. So in other words, the best way to protect your personal information from cyber criminals, or the best way to retrieve this information back from them, is not to share them in the first place, or to share less of it. We immediately think of social media when it comes to sharing information, and that's a great starting place. For instance, be mindful to double check your photos of things and information you don't want widely available. This includes geotagged posts or any information you don't want strangers to know about. Be careful about posting certain locations at certain times. I believe you would rather have a peaceful vacation and come back safely to your home intact. You don't want to share your itineraries with strangers. In addition to social media platforms, nearly all apps collect details of your activities, and they rarely protect your data as carefully as you would like to. This is one of the reasons I mentioned at the beginning that you should download fewer apps, and also be mindful of the permissions you're granting them. You can find this in the settings area of your device. Ever so often, a company's violations make headlines. All this data make up your digital footprint, which scammers can use to gain access to your sensitive information. So what are some of the steps you can take to avoid oversharing online? Create disposable emails. Emails are sold or rented in the dark web, which are mostly used to carry out phishing attacks. Consider creating a disposable email for generic things like subscriptions. Share less on forums. Skip optional information such as phone number. Protect your Wi-Fi password. Your router handles a lot of sensitive information, from password to financial information. Anyone with your Wi-Fi password and malicious intent can try to steal your information. Make use of private settings on your social media platforms to limit the degree of public accessibility. Most privacy hacks don't come from newly discovered bugs. Instead, they take advantage of known vulnerabilities that have already been fixed. However, this bug fix has not yet been applied to the computer or the device. It is often reported that unpatched vulnerabilities were among the top attack vectors used by hackers. The first and most crucial step is to set your operating systems to install updates automatically. You can also install antivirus software to protect against malware like spyware, which collects data like credit card information in the background. But be sure to keep this software updated, because these updates, they contain fixes to newly discovered bugs. Strong passwords are the most important and sometimes the only protection we have against identity theft and hackers. Add passwords not only to your personal accounts but also to your guest accounts. And someone might say passwords don't work, but imagine building a house and not adding any lock to it. Of course, there are different types of locks. So as it relates to your passwords, use strong ones. Make it a paraphrase of something you can easily remember, and be sure to use a combination of lower and uppercase, numbers and symbols. As with the analogy of building a house without a lock, the lock still needs to be activated. So make sure when you're not using your device that it locks automatically and will require a password to access it in as short a time as possible. For devices that use biometric authentication, like fingerprint scanning or facial recognition, the best setting is 30 seconds or even immediately. Next is not to recycle your passwords. Do not use the same password for different online accounts. Use a strong, unique password for each of your online accounts. One of the methods that hackers use to steal your information online is called credential stuffing. Credential stuffing is a cyber attack method in which attackers use lists of compromised user credentials being sold in the dark web to try to gain access into the user's other online accounts. This was the password attack method used by hackers in the 2020 CRA, Canada Revenue Agency, cyber attack. And since you have dozens of online accounts, a password manager is an easier way to help manage and keep them secure. And finally, activate 2 or multi-factor authentication for every online account that allows you to do so. This is a second secure measure that can deter cyber criminals and help protect you if your password has been compromised in a phishing attack and has been shared with hackers. If you've ever needed to type in a code sent to your mobile phone, for example, you've used a two-factor authentication before. However, it's better to avoid the text messages sent to your phone, as these can easily be intercepted. Instead, use authenticator apps, which are more secure than text message verification codes. There is also the option of using physical tokens, which most of you already use at your places of work. But since it could be a little challenging to have dozens of tokens for your numerous accounts, an authenticator app is a good option. If you think about it as a hierarchy, physical tokens are more effective than authenticator apps, which are much better than text message verification, which are more effective than email verification. So in summary, delete unused mobile apps and browser extensions. Block search engines from tracking you. Commit to sharing less online. Don't ignore software updates and use strong, unique passwords and multi-factor authentication. If you would like to see more videos like this, please tap on the subscribe button and let me know in the comments below what kind of topics you would like me to cover. Thank you for hanging out with me, and I'll see you in the next video.